Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pot Smoker's Bible. My name is Zion. I'm the author of the Pot Smoker's Bible, which contains the prophetic book of Zion, where I get my name and authority. It comes from the Ketuvim, or Old Testament of the Hebrew of the Christian Bible. I use the King James Version of the Bible to put together the prophecy of Israel, which I call the Book of Zion. If you want to find out exactly what the prophecy says, where all this is headed, go to Pot Smoker's Bible on YouTube and start watching the videos because the first half of most of the video feed is the Book of Zion and its corresponding Pot Smoker's Bible. And today I am going to be talking about the government of Zion. In my last episode, I talked about, I imagined a typical day in the life of a Zionite woman who is a single mother, and how easy her life would be compared to her life here in America. But it's it's beautiful to see what the dream is, how much better someone's life could be if we took the path of Zion. But you have to know what the path of Zion is before you can decide if you want to do this, and that really has to do with the form of government. Now, we are approaching yet another change of power. uh, Trump and Biden are up for election. Anyone who's halfway intelligent knows that Biden's going to win that race. There's no way Trump is going to win. And that's a good thing, because if Trump did win, well, in 2 years, we'd all be speaking Russian. But that's beside the point. Um, Good luck, but Biden. You've got a lot of problems to deal with. Hope you're up to it. But in Zion, there wouldn't be that problem. Now, first of all, Trump would never have even come close to a government position in Zion. He is so not qualified that he would not have even started the process because Trump is too lazy. He would not have been willing to put forth the massive amounts of effort required of someone who wants to go into the government in Zion. So today I'm going to explain to you why that Trump would never be a leader in Zion. And I'm going to explain the government to you a little bit in greater detail. Now, I decided I'm going to start with the top tier of the government because Trump is my template of, this whole thing is like why Trump would never be on the Council of Elders. Because that is the basic form of the highest tier of our government is the Council of Elders. Now, the Council of Elders is made up of those people who are 50 years and older, who are qualified and elected into office. Now, each seat on that governing council controls an aspect of the government. There is an infrastructure seat. That chair is responsible for every finite, um, basic mechanical aspect of society: the roads, the pipes, the electric system, the internet, communications, everything that has to do with infrastructure is housed in that chair. So let's say that Trump wanted to go into the government in infrastructure. That would never have happened. His only means to go through to the government would have been in the Actors Guild, which was entertainment. And the likelihood of the entertainment seat having the big chair, it is not going to be very likely. Because the person in the big chair has to be an authority in every seat of the council, which means that he has to be a qualified professional credential in every seat of the council. So he would have had to have studied science. He would have had to have studied infrastructure. He would have had to have studied health. He would have had to have studied childcare. He would have had to have studied entertainment, communications, and any other chair that is determined to be required. Now, each chair is representative of every guild that is associated with that chair. So take the infrastructure chair. That infrastructure chair is the leader of the electrician's guild, the waterworks guild, and the construction guild. Every guild associated with infrastructure has a lesser seat on the guild council. And every head of the guild council is a qualified professional credentialed leader of every aspect of the guild that he chairs. So in order for someone to want to go into to become the leader of the council, which is the highest form of government, which is the highest position you can have in the council, you have to start as a child. And as a child, you have to decide, I want to be in that chair someday. And then you have to decide, well, first you have to qualify for guild entry into whatever guild you're capable of entering. Just because you want a guild doesn't mean you get that guild, which is why when you go to school, you're taught a broad range of subjects in 3 or 4 different chosen fields that you are interested in or qualified for. And then you get placed into the guild that has the space, that likes your credentials, that has outbid everybody else. So the child that wants to be the leader of the government has to first get entry into a guild that would give them the bona fides to do that. Like I said, the likelihood of the leader of the entertainment chair having that head seat isn't very likely, because entertainment is in one mindset, government is in another. So someone who is a wonderful actor or poet probably doesn't want to lead the government, because that's a technical thing, and dreamers aren't technical. And Trump is a dreamer. So he wouldn't have qualified just based on his guild would have made it improbable. Not impossible. But you see, he would have had to have mastered everything in his guild, which is esoteric. I mean, it's way. And then he would have had to master every other qualified guild to seat. So he wouldn't be a master of every guild, but he would be qualified in every guild. So he would have enough basic knowledge in every guild seat to combine all that knowledge and to be that top seat who can coordinate all those things together because they've done the work. They started as a child. Until they were 50 years old, they spent their entire career mastering every aspect and level of their guild, the guild that they were entered into it at adolescence. Once they mastered that guild, in order to advance to the council in their guild, they would have to master every other aspect of that guild, which is to study and take tests that certify you as being qualified to lead that seat. Trump would have never passed the first test, so he could have never made it into the government. Now, by the time he's 50, he would have been 50 years old. He would have had to have risen to the qualified level to chair the seat in his personal guild. Now, once he chaired that seat, he'd have to win that in an election. And he would be up against other equally qualified candidates who have passed all their certifications and are qualified. So it's going to come down to skill. Because the thing that's going to differentiate all of the qualified candidates is going to be that one person who is skilled, who has the kahunas and the intelligence and the hands-on experience to master it. That's the one that's going to get elected. And Trump has never mastered anything, especially money. So he would have never qualified for the first lowest seat in government that you can only get at age 50. Now, once you get into that seat, then you're going to have to master every seat on your council to get to that top one. When you get to that top one, then you advance to the next seat, which is the government seat. Now, there's a whole bureaucracy that works on that level. And as soon as you get to your elderly council, you get to that next tier. Now, when you get to that next tier, if you want to be the headmaster, now you're going to already have had to spend your entire life prepping for that because you have to qualify for every seat on the council before you can put your name up for election to the big one. Trump's not qualified in one thing. He would never have had the ambition to actually become qualified in every seat on the council because only someone who has certifiably, qualifiably passed tests to prove qualification in every guild seat on the council in order to be eligible for election. So there's a vetting process that goes all the way from childhood to that highest seat. And only those who have pursued that seat their entire career are going to be eligible for an election. Now, just because he puts his name in the bid does not mean that he's automatically going to be that top notch. But it automatically means he's going to be in that tier of government officials. No person in a Zionite election loses. Because once you enter that field, you are qualified and guaranteed a position in the government itself. So you may not get that big chair, but you'll get one of the chairs, sub-chairs underneath it. And then, and it tears down. So that every person in the nation, if they have the ambition, the intelligence, the talent, the dedication, can become a government official, but only through certification, qualification, craftsmanship, intellect, and dedication, none of which Trump has. So he would have never got into the lowest tier of government, let alone the highest. And that is why Zion will work. It comes from the Grey. They know best. May the Grey watch over you, guide you, protect you, and keep you from all harm. May they teach you right from wrong. And may you be worthy of them, please. Let your thoughts, words, and deeds reflect truth, good, and light in the unicorn way. Stay happy and high. Pursue your happiness. Pursue it like a prize. Know I love you. Later, because I will never say goodbye.